Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown, Jonathan Taylor.
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it.
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in. As always, Jim Coyle here, joined by Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. Hope your week has been a good one and ready for the weekend. It looks like it's going to be pretty nice out there, so plenty of excuse to get out and about and do lots of stuff. Dylan, I'm sure you've got plans to get out and about. What are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend I'm going to Trine Softball, which is up here in Angola. They are in the NCAA tournament this weekend. They're hosting a regional, so Division III tournament. So I will be covering that on Sunday, assuming they make the final, and just kind of going around doing as much as I can here before the Tin Caps get back in town on Tuesday.
Oddly, I've never heard of Trine University until this week. There was something, I cannot remember what it was now, but Trine came up. I'm like, it's so weird. It has something to do with somebody playing there, I think. But funny how that always works. Let's see. Basketball getting back into action this weekend as the AAU circuit is happening. We'll talk with Kyler Staley about that. Let's see. They got a couple of different things going on this weekend, both in the Indianapolis area, which I guess you say the Indianapolis area. It's starting to get far enough north that it's got its own zip code, man. Noblesville up there, Finch Creek, north of Indy, northeast of Indy a little bit, but lots of basketball going on again. So you've got that. The Big Ten Outdoor Track and Field Championships up in Minnesota are happening. And yesterday I was chatting with Will Sheehy about Jordan Hulse's golf outing, which don't forget about the Never Lose Hoop golf event coming up. That's your opportunity to participate. You can play. Just get yourself a foursome. It's going to be a great day. So just pull up that information. You can go to thehoosier.com, and it's up at the top of all of the chat boards. All the information is there. And then once we get past this weekend, but start sending this out a lot through social media, because this weekend is the Crawfest. Dylan, you're missing out, man. You're up there in Fort Wayne, down in Bedford, at the they call it the Harp Commons down there. All tonight and tomorrow night, they have their fourth annual Crawfest, sponsored by the Courtroom Sports Grill. So make sure you can get down there and do that. But it's headlined by Clayton Anderson tomorrow night, who's with us today. We'll get to talk to him later, so looking forward to that. Never had a musician on here before. Maybe he'll sing you a ditty. But no. Go look. There's a lot going on this weekend, so get out and about and enjoy it, because we haven't had a good spring. I was whining about this yesterday, Dylan. We haven't had a good spring. We've had that crap 50 degrees. Raining, not raining, a 70-degree day, but no back down. And then all of a sudden it was 90. So get out and enjoy this weekend, man. Plan to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been beautiful here in Fort Wayne. I got out. I mowed my lawn yesterday. It's good time to get out there and finally get some of that yard work going, because it was you're right, it was so rainy for so long. You finally got a significant stretch without rain here. Got to do it before the rain starts back up.
Yeah, and now, how much lawn do you have to mow?
Not that much, thankfully. I have a smaller.
Are you
lawn.
riding or are you pushing?
I am pushing. And so
There you
takes me about an hour with the push mower. So if you can imagine that.
Man, the good old days, the old-fashioned push mower. It's so funny. It brings back memories. I'm surprised. I say that like I'm surprised we still have push mowers, as if it's the next thing that's going to disappear from our life. But no, man, when I was a kid, that was one of my most ways of making money. I'm talking about from like when I was 10. 8, 9, or 9, 10, 11, 12 in that area. Man, I was a yard mowing fool, baby. I'm throwing it that push mower and grab the gas can and go. And then it turned into umpiring. It's funny how to make money back then, but it's how I bought my first pair of Nikes. I remember getting that. We didn't get paid from umpiring until the end of the year, which was good because I would have blown it all.
Yeah.
So, but I got my first pair of Nikes.
Were they Jordans?
No, they were those Nike Cortez.
Wow.
It was the original, the original white Nike with the red swoosh.
Wow.
I'm talking not even they weren't. Yeah, this is back in the day, man. This is back in the day. But I wish they had been Jordans because I tore my ankle. It was the beginning of my ankle problems because I step slight on the outskirts of my heels slightly, not flat down. I didn't know this when I was younger, and I remember wearing those and going up for a layup and feeling that ankle bone, it turn and you feel that hit the floor. Whoo! That was not a good feeling. Yeah, those shoes were not made for basketball. They weren't made for people like me to play basketball. But yeah, that was the beginning of that. But yep, I saw mention. I think it was Ross just mentioned. Who was it? About Dexter Dennis. That I don't know if that's come out yet or not, but he's expected to make his announcement, but it is not expected to go Indiana's way. But that just tells me he's waited a long time to make that announcement, Dylan. And I was starting to wonder if he was waiting on Trace Jackson Davis. And because I'm like, man, it's been a minute. He's made his visits. It's kind of unusual for a guy to wait because other teams aren't going to wait with his transfer portal. So now we see he's got to go ahead and I don't know if that is a positive, that if he knows something or if it's just, hey, I've got to make my decision to move on.
Yeah, that was I think a lot of people were wondering, hey, is he waiting for Trace? And I was thinking to myself, look, what we've been hearing stories for the last year or so, and I've talked to several people myself about this, about how if you're in the transfer portal, you kind of have to go fast because the other teams are not going to wait for you. And it's like a game of musical chairs where you don't want to be the one sitting there without a chair, right, at the end. So you kind of you can take your visits, you can put a list together, you can do all that, but eventually you have to make a call because if you don't, you risk being the guy sitting there without a team at the end, no matter how good you are. And so Dexter Dennis is a very good player, obviously. He's going to help whatever team he goes to, but I was surprised that he waited as long as he did. And it's possible that he is good enough that there were teams that were saying, we will wait for you. And I was wondering myself if he was waiting for Trace or not, but I figure that maybe he just figured it was going to be too long. He wouldn't be able to wait for Trace, especially after it became clear that Trace had gotten that invite to the combine, or the NBA combine. And so it was going to be a while before he made his decision on that as well.
And the invite to the combine was not unexpected. I don't know how many ended up getting the invite, but it's usually around 60. And so that puts him in there. I guess is there a released list, complete list?
Yeah, they released the list. I think it was Wednesday night. So we had of guys from the area. We had Trace was on there, Travion Williams was on there, Jaden Ivey was on there, Blake Wesley was on there. I believe it was those 4 guys from the Indiana schools, if I'm not mistaken. I might be missing someone, but I think that's it.
Well, the only reason I was wondering because I wanted to look at the entire list. I'd like to see if Drew Timme is on this list.
He is on that. Drew Timme is on that list. Yes,
he's one of those people that shockingly, surprisingly to me, was down far on some of the mock drafts that I saw. I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe how far they had someone like him down. I'm like, man, there's the list, I guess. Did anybody? Has there been any names that you've noticed not on there that stood out?
They have their bases pretty well covered. It's generally anyone who is going to be drafted or who they think has a chance to be drafted. You're right. It's about 60 or 70 guys here. So Kofi Coburn was on there. I was a little bit surprised by that, but I guess that he's such a physical presence. They want to see exactly how physical he is. That Max Christie from Michigan State, the freshman who averaged about 12 points a game last year, he's on there.
See, I'm not surprised by Kofi Coburn because he's a one-trick pony. Actually, he's a one-trick horse, you should say. He's more of a horse than a pony, but so I understand. I mean, this is not the age of Shaq, where Shaq could still probably do what he did because he was a different beast. Kofi Coburn is a mini Shaq. He's not even that's what's funny. He's just a mini Shaq. So I understand them putting him through. And Trace Jackson Davis could end up having a tremendous camp.
Yeah.
I forget who I was talking with about this, but I was thinking, if he goes into camp and shoots the ball well, that's all it's going to take. But would that supersede his body of work? It's just hard to tell. Also, it matters what teams' needs are. Because I was also talking yesterday with Chris Denari, the voice of the Pacers, about who he thought that his top 5 were going to be. And he has Jaden Ivey in that top 5, saying that that's pretty much what he's seen, which that's a little surprising to me. Jaden Ivey just doesn't do it that much for me. I'm like, he's a really good guard, but I don't know that he's going to be a game changer. And if I've got a top 5 pick, I want a game changer, man. I want someone who is going to be potentially a franchise type player. And because I'm not sure that franchise players are in here, but there are guys that seem like they could be. Paolo Banchero, he's a guy that you would expect that from, and those types. But my pick is Chet Holmgren. I would, to me, there's no way he's not the number 1 pick, but I'm not seeing that as the case everywhere. He's not always been listed as the number 1 pick.
People, I think, are worried. People who aren't going to pick him number 1, if they are not going to, are worried about his durability over the long term. I think he's so skinny, and I think people, if you watch him, it's pretty clear that he's much stronger in the lower body than he looks. But because he has some strength in the post, like he can body someone up and really hold his ground, but he's just so skinny and his body type is so unique that I think people are worried about his durability long term. So that would probably be the one thing that would keep someone from drafting him number 1, because otherwise that's the skill set you want at number 1, I would think.
Yep. Lois, don't forget, you can hit us up in the Andy Moore Honda hotline. They've got a great discussion of tomatoes going over there right now. It's funny. I was trying to get caught up on that. Jennifer said her tomato plants have flowers on them. Is it too early for that? She was asking Robert, who must be our in-house arborist or what you would call that, but that's funny to see that. But you can join in the conversation as well. But hey, we've got to take a quick break. When we come back, Kyler Staley will join us from thehoosier.com. There is a lot of AAU action going on this weekend. We will get to that. Don't forget the Crawfest going on down at Bedford this weekend, the 4th annual Crawfest, sponsored by the Courtroom Sports Grill. Back again at the Harp Commons in downtown Bedford tonight, tomorrow night. All you can eat, the biggest crawfish boil, all you can eat. Live music, Clayton Anderson headlining tomorrow night. He's going to be with us today a little bit later in the show as well. Looking forward to it. We're back with Kyler Staley right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington. Wow, that's a lot of stuff to get out.
What's going on, guys?
What up?
Much. I'm a little excited about Clayton Anderson. He's a family friend of mine.
Oh wow.
So he went to Bedford.
Dude, then you should have come. You can come back on.
I might try to. It just depends what I got going on at work. But
that would be funny because he wouldn't be expecting it. And I love unexpected stuff.
No, I honestly don't think he would recognize me because it's been so long. But he was best friends with my aunt. They went to Bedford High School and everything. And I guess when my aunt went to Tennessee for college, and so when he was trying to make it in the music business and stuff, he would stay on my aunt's couch.
Where did she go to, like Belmont or something?
No, University of Tennessee, Vols.
Oh, that's down in frickin'
Knoxville.
Yeah. So, he's a family friend. His mom still lives in Bedford, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. Fun fact.
I've never met him.
Good dude.
I saw him at an IU baseball game once. That's the only time I've seen him, though.
Where is he from?
Bedford.
He's Bedford. Okay.
My hometown.
Gotcha.
My parents have seen him play, I think. I don't know where at, though.
I have not. Well, he just played in Louisville, something at the Derby, I think.
It must have been pretty low key because I don't remember hearing that. My parents, I can't remember. It must have been a few years ago that they saw him play.
He put on a concert like 4 years ago at Bedford High School. He normally does that a lot, so that was the last time I saw him.
Oh, I got to remember to finish a response in the Hoosier board on football.
Football.
Someone was talking about how much, it was about Fred Glass and how much he had done for facilities, that IU was like as if the leader. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. They have the worst football facilities. Overall, I would put them in a tie with Northwestern.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I know you don't like Fred Glass, but Northwestern is way far below everybody else.
Well, Northwestern has that new facility they just opened.
Because John didn't know what he's talking. See, John didn't know what he's talking about. This brand new sparkling facility on the effing lake. All their facilities right there, brand new. Yeah. The only reason that Indiana is able to tie them is because their stadium sucks. They have the worst stadium.
Through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Friday. It's a good-looking Friday out there. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette is with us, as usual. And Kyler Staley from thehoosier.com joins us as well. lots going on this weekend, Kyler. Back to it last weekend, a weekend off, a rare weekend off. This weekend back at it up in the Noblesville area with the Adidas May Classic and the Prep Hoops Havoc in the Heartland. I know the Indiana Elite guys will be, I guess that's the Finch Creek, Noblesville area with Flory Badunga and all those guys.
Yeah, so they are in the Adidas May Classic. That's a primarily Indiana Elite event. So it's going to be mostly all those spin-off teams that they have, like Indiana Elite, like Team Indiana and stuff like that. But of course, the main guys will be there. The Adidas like gold teams and stuff like that will be there. Main guys to look for this weekend is JQ Roberts on the 2023 team, and then on the 16 under team, you've got Floyd Badunga, Cooper Koch, Riley Burgess, and then Travis Perry, who just recently had an unofficial visit to Indiana. So get a chance to talk to him and see where his relationship stands with Indiana.
And then the other location, the Havoc in the Heartland, what's going on with that? Who's going to be there?
So it's not really a high Division I event. So there's going to be a lot of guys that are Division II bound and stuff. Now there are a few teams. One team off the top of my head is Glenn Robinson's AAU team. They have a bunch of mid-major guys like AJ Lux from Crown Point and Cooper Farrell from Culver Academy. Same place where Trey Galloway's from. So they've got a bunch of those mid-major, low-major guys on there, but there's a few out-of-state teams as well, like Mac Irvin Fire is going to be there. So they have a few Division I prospects there as well. So, but as far as IU guys, IU targets, there's not going to be a whole lot there this weekend.
So the Adidas May Classic in the Noblesville area is probably where you'd want to go if you're looking to go out to something to watch some basketball. Dylan, they've had a couple events at least up in Fort Wayne. The Run-In Slam was not too long ago, maybe just a week ago. Did you get a chance to go out to that?
I did. Yeah, I went and saw the game. I saw a couple of games. I saw a game that Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, Purdue commit, played in, and then I also saw the game between Gabe Cupp's team and Xavier Booker's team. They played against each other, and that was really interesting to watch. So yeah, I can give a full scouting report at some point if you guys are looking for that
right now.
Yeah.
I'm better than Apprentice
on the spot.
Yeah, I guess to start with Cups, because he's the IU commit. Right now his calling card is obviously defense. He's a guy who moves his feet really well. He defends without fouling. He doesn't reach, and he's good at recovering on the rare times that he does get beat. He's a guy who's not going to beat you to the rim a ton right now, but he does it a little bit and he can finish there. And then he has a nice pull-up jumper that he uses when he can't get to the rim, so that helps as well. And of course, he's a good three-point shooter. So he's a guy, he reminded me of a guy like Aaron Kraft a little bit, guy who's just really moving his feet at all times on defense. In terms of Booker, like you guys know, Xavier Booker at this point, there's a reason that he's one of the most coveted recruits in Indiana right now. It's just you can see. I guess the term we use in football is he's an off-the-bus guy. He's incredibly long, incredibly athletic. He finishes around the rim. He's got some touch. He's got a decent jump shot. Actually, the one thing I saw about his game that kind of made me a little bit iffy was like he likes to stand around the 3-point line and shoot a little bit. He did a little bit too much for my taste. He's a guy who's so long and athletic that he should be inside dominating people, and I didn't see him do that quite as much. He doesn't have much of a post-up game that I can tell at this point anyway. Back to the basket. So I would like to see him, especially as he gets into his final high school season here, go in the post and find a way to get to the rim more often.
Yeah, he when I've seen him, he's definitely not a post-up guy, but I think he sees himself as a poor man's Kevin Durant right now.
Yeah.
And he's got that build. My God, he's 6'11". If that's what makes Chet Holmgren so special. He's a 7-foot guy that can shoot the three, but he can handle the basketball. He's a freak. But anyway, Xavier Booker. Unfortunately, the it seems Michigan State is in the driver's seat in regards to his recruitment for some reason. I don't know why that is, Kyler, kid out of Indianapolis, but that seems to be the case at the moment.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this before on the show. You know, every time I've seen Booker the last 2 or 3 months, Tom Izzo's been there. They have made him a priority, and I think Izzo sees him as kind of that Jaren Jackson. That's who they compare him a lot to, for him to come in and he could fill that role almost instantly. I wouldn't necessarily say Indiana, is out of the running in some way. Like, I would argue that they're probably the second most likely team to land him. But Michigan State has just made him probably the biggest priority out of any recruit that they are scouting right now.
It's funny that you say that Jaren Jackson is the guy that they're comparing him to, because that makes a lot of sense to me. I see why they're saying that. But Jaren Jackson was, in my mind, and I don't know if Michigan State fans feel this way or not, but to me, he was extremely misused in the time that he was at Michigan State. They did not make him a centerpiece of their offense in the way they probably could have. And I never understood why they didn't use him more. And then he went off to the NBA and he's as good as everyone thought he was going to be. And it's like, why wasn't this guy a featured part of your offense while he was there?
Right. And, Booker could be looking at that too, as well.
Yeah.
You never know. Booker's a pretty intelligent kid. He kind of knows, he knows how good he is, knows how talented he is. And going back to what you said about him camping on the 3-point line. Yeah, he's done that all high school year, and he's actually got a little bit in trouble from as a high school coach for doing that. A lot of times he was pulled on the bench because he wasn't being that post presence that they needed. When I watched him in the state playoffs, he was more of a post presence, and then Cathedral just ran away with it. So he's just got to kind of know where his strengths are, and then obviously, like, this is the time, this is the summer where he starts to work on that outside shot and just becomes a more balanced player overall.
The one thing that Indiana does know is next season is they have to replace Trace Jackson Davis regardless, because he could or could not be coming back for this upcoming season. But the following year, I meant, is they know that they would have to replace him. So they have to get that piece, but it doesn't seem to be as concerning for them right now as a lot of the other pieces that they're putting in. Really working on those wings and guards seems to be priority right now, Kyler.
Yeah, I agree. As far as, not this upcoming year, but the year afterwards, you'll obviously still have Malik renew. So, he'll have another year of development. And then right now they're kind of making the priority towards Arlington Page with the 2023 class. So he could come in and be another dominant post presence for them. He can stretch the floor, not as well as Booker, I would say, but he's a lot more physical inside. And he's starting to get a lot smarter on the floor from what I've seen as well. So that's an option right there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do to replace Trace and Race. Not this coming year, but next year as well.
And Dylan, it looks also, though, Mike Woodson's style of play may be altering the roster. The big man per se, we hear positionless basketball, which you're still going to have your guards and your wings, but the center is a piece that kind of is, you could turn it into a 4-5 kind of a thing, where he's more of a stretch 4, and which is exactly what someone like Xavier Booker is. He's a guy who should be a center in most normal cases, but he's playing a 4. He's not playing that 5 role. So it's a case where with what they are recruiting with all these wings, these 6'8" guys, these 6'7", 6'8" guys that are kind of interchangeable. You look back at Indiana's last national championship, which was 1,000 years ago, I understand, but wasn't Darryl Thomas the tallest guy on the floor for Indiana at 6? Oh no, you had daggone it, he's on with us all the time. They're a big guy. Keith Smart and the other addition that they added to that team, for the JUCO team. Why am I drawing a blank? He's on with us all the time. Good friend of the show, Dean Garrett. They did have Dean Garrett, so I take that back. So they had that piece too. But think back the teams of the 90s when they had just all these great pieces, but they had a team full of guys that could shoot the ball. There was not a guy on the floor hardly that couldn't shoot the ball most of the time, save maybe Chris Reynolds. But you had Greg Graham, Pat Graham, Todd Leary, Eric Anderson, Jamal Meeks. I could go on. Damon Bailey, all those guys, Calbert Cheney, all those guys. Every freaking one of them could shoot the ball, so they didn't need a 6'10", 7-foot guy, and it created havoc. And I'm wondering if that's kind of the style where Woody may be going back to.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it, especially with the pick and roll that Woodson likes to play. He would rather not have guys planted in the post and getting post feeds. He wants his big man up at the top of the key running pick and roll with Xavier Johnson or with Jalen Hood-Schifino. And I think it's kind of interesting because for so long, Indiana has been a big man team. They had Juwan Morgan and Duron Davis. Then they had Trace. Then they had Race. Then they had Joey Brunk. And so it's going to be almost some whiplash for fans if you're watching IU for them to go so quickly from a team that has these dominant big men for so long to a team that might not have a dominant big man and is just going to play 5 out. If once Trace and Race leave, you're going to be left with, assuming they don't get Booker, you're going to be left with, as we talked about, Renew and Caleb Banks, who are both, as you said, 6'8", guys who are athletic, guys who can come to the top of the key and run a pick and roll and can rebound, but are not going to plant themselves in the post. I think that the style of play is just going to be so different than what we've seen. We're already starting to see that a little bit. We started to see it at the end of last season. And it's going to be interesting to see how that develops here over the next year or two.
So this weekend, we talked about who you expect to see up at mainly at the Adidas May Classic. What are you expecting to see? What about are there any out-of-towners that you're looking forward to seeing there, Kyler?
I mean, he technically falls in the out-of-towners, but he plays for Indiana Elite. Is that Travis Perry from Kentucky? I'm really interested to talk to him a little bit more and see where that relationship is. You know, does he expect an offer from Indiana? And things like that. He really is the main guy that I'm kind of focusing in on this week. He is a 2024 guard.
Is that the kid from Eddyville?
Yes. Yep.
So down in Western Kentucky. And I made note to, I forget who I was talking with on the show, but I think that this staff has offered more kids from Kentucky than in my lifetime combined that I can recall from Indiana total. I don't recall hardly ever there being a kid that was offered. There's never been 3 offered within a calendar year like there has been here of late, with Reed Shepherd last year and the one we're talking about, and then there was one other. Oh, the kid from Louisville.
Yeah.
So it just shows this staff is not limiting. They will go anywhere. They'll go to Mars. We'll go to Finland. They'll go to Finland if they have to. And I know people want to see these Indiana kids like Purdue has. We just talked about another, Dre Lawhorn, another commitment to Purdue, Indiana kid. But and Purdue has that style. But I think Purdue's about to get left behind if they stay that way, because the Big Ten itself has to change its style to be successful on the bigger stage, because they have not been. They've been embarrassed in the tournament the last 2 years, and they haven't come close to. Well, they haven't won one in since 2000 or whenever it was, 2001.
Yeah.
So I think that the style has to change, and I think that Indiana's probably getting closer to that style than, say, Purdue. Which it's great. Conference play is one thing, but if you notice, once you get out to the tournament, that style of play doesn't work. So I think Indiana is going to change towards what they look to the future for the big prize, and let the conference take care of itself.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I do see Purdue, just the way that they work and operate. I do see them being left behind eventually. The thing with Woodson is he's going to recruit the best players in the nation. He's going to recruit the players that will fit his system, not necessarily stay in the state of Indiana, which the state of Indiana does have some great players coming up. Jalen Harrelson, Trent Sisley. So those are guys you have to recruit. But, Woodson has shown like he's going out to Ohio. He's going out to Kentucky. Georgia is another big one that he's recruiting. He's going to find guys that fit his system. He's not going to necessarily stay in the state, which he doesn't need to.
No, and you'll always there will always be a guy or two because this state produces so much talent, like Trent Sisley and Jalen Harrison right there. Those are two guys. Not only do you don't have to, you need to. Those guys that's talent right there. That's general. Trent Sisley may end up being a generational talent. I really believe that. We'll see. I don't want to put that pressure on him. It's not fair, but this dude is. I swear. I mean, I'm like, wow, you kidding me? Just finished his freshman year, and Harrelson's the same in a different manner. But I think that the ceiling's higher for Sisley because of the position he plays. But yeah, he's a guy that, man, both of those guys, I can see them as being. You want both of them in the same backcourt if you could get it.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Let's take a quick break. I think Kyler's going to, Kyler's going to be able to stick around with us for another break, I believe. And we'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington. Comfort food with Southern fare. Stuff's delicious. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
Hey, Jim, I gotta make a phone call. Okay, I'm gonna for just a few minutes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, not a problem, brother.
Thanks for holding it down, guys.
Oh, you bet. Just mute yourself.
I'll mute him. It's fine.
You can take him out, can't you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to do my best job of replacing Alec today.
Man, your sound is amazing because you're in the car.
Well, I'm sweating in the car. I'll tell you that.
Oh, dude,
turn on your AC.
I did. I had to roll down the window. My AC is really loud, so I just don't want to have that.
Roll all the windows down.
Might as well. I had to. I just don't want to be. I would do it in my office, but I'm like my cubicle's like in the middle.
No, I get it. I get it. You can't be yourself. You can't. Yeah.
No.
I hate that.
I hate it too. Yeah, man.
But it's like my air conditioning here is not working.
Ooh.
I noticed it. I fought turning the air on. I'm like, I'm not turning it on. Well, it was 88 or 89 degrees in here the other day. I was working here. I sit here and work after the show for hours, and I was still working, and a bead of sweat dropped off of my nose, and I said, "That's it." I got up and shut everything down, turned the air on, shut everything, and left. Came back home. The only reason, and it wasn't cool because the air wasn't working, and hell, it was cooler outside. So, like last night, I had to come home, open everything up, stick a fan in one of the sliding glass doors to suck the cool air in. And then once it gets during the middle of the day, it starts getting hot again.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It was brutal. Like yesterday was the first time I was able to sit on my patio, and I was like talking to my mom, having a beer or whatever, just kind of chilling. And as I was talking to her, I was like, I am pouring sweat. I mean, I was like, I need to go inside. Of course, I live on the third floor, so it's like all the heat rises. But it was brutal out there. I was like, I just can't do it. So I just needed to go down kind of in the 70s. That's all I need right now.
Okay.
This year's event will be headlined by country superstar and Hoosier native Clayton Anderson. We are planning for this to be Bedford's biggest Crawfest ever, with the biggest crawfish boil around, complete with a beer garden, stocked with local craft brews, live music Friday and Saturday, and fun for the entire family. Where else can you get all you can eat, listen to great music, enjoy it all on a beautiful Southern Indiana spring night? Let's kick summer off early.
For more information, go to the Courtroom Sports Grill Facebook page.
This segment is brought to you by BB's Market in Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at BB's Market. BB's Marketplace is your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live. They have some of the best custom meats around and some of the largest made in-house dishes. I just happened to run into the head chef there. They had up to 40 different kinds of sausages. It's crazy. I mean, and the greatest thing is though, you can just go on, you can order online and have meats just sent to you for all. We got people listening in 22 different states, besides being on the Ref 97.7 in Evansville and WBRO and Marengo. But for all those that, if you don't live around here, you can order from BB's, just like I hate to give them pub, but Omaha Steaks. But you can get a lot more here, and it's Indiana. Visit bbsmarket.com, and then you can use your WOW Club card and get discounts, savings, and so it all works together, baby, and it supports IU athletics, and they're a big supporter of ours, which allows us to bring you this content, like Kyler Staley, who's going to be up in Finch Creek. Will you be mostly at Finch Creek, or where does that go back, and where will you be?
So the two main areas I'm going to be this weekend for prep hoops, I'm going to be at Fisher's High School.
So you will go to that one?
Yes, I will. I'm going to go there tonight. Actually, the Adidas May Classic starts tomorrow, so I'm going to be there. And that is where I'm going to be, is at the Pacers Athletic Center in Westfield. So I'm going to be there, which, I mean, both Fisher's High School and the Pacers Athletic Center, like, those are two beautiful places to host all these tournament games, and Finch Creek. I'd say those three are just the absolute best when it comes to hosting AAU tournaments and events like in this area.
Yeah, it's built for it, certainly. I'm surprised that there has not been, or maybe there is, and I haven't been to it though, a center built specifically for these big AAU tournaments that have even more courts. Because there's at the Finch, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It only has 5 active courts.
Yeah. Best choice, Fieldhouse right next to Top Golf, is another one that's pretty good. I think it has about 5 to 7, somewhere around there. But Fisher's High School, it's kind of underrated in a way, because when they usually have events and stuff, they split their main gym into 2 courts, and then they also have 2 auxiliary gyms, and then each of those auxiliary gyms have 3 courts in them. So there's like tons of courts on there, and it's just all kind of right in the center of the school. Perfect place.
I forget what high school it was that I was at for one of these events last year. It could have been Carmel, but I could not believe the amount of basketball courts that this school had. They had to have like 5 or 6 courts there because there was an event going on there.
It could be Fisher's.
Maybe Fisher's then.
Yeah.
They had, how many courts do they have at their school?
So, I mean, they could have so for this event, you've got, you've got 8 that they could run, but they could run up to 10, I think.
That's mind-boggling to me. I went to Floyd Central. We're a 4A basketball, but 5A football school. So not huge, definitely not small. Probably 1,500 people when I went there.
Yeah.
But we had the main gym, and then they had built on, while I was in school, an auxiliary building that had 2 other gyms in it. And you could run 2 gyms in the main gym, I guess. So they could do 4 at one time. But 10 that's a crazy number, man. But it'll be going on. And so is this a live period? Are coaches allowed out there?
This is not a live period for Division I coaches. Basically, what you're going to see this weekend, it's a big weekend for the Division IIIs and NAIA and JUCO players, because all those players all those coaches are going to be out seeing them this weekend. So obviously not as far as live period with the Division I players and stuff, not a huge event. It's big for like the media because we get to go out and see these guys again, stuff like that. But as far as live periods, it's not. I don't think the next live period is not until June. Probably right around the time the top 100 showcase at Ben Davis is in the state. So I remember last year there was tons of Division I coaches there. So I think that's probably when you'll see another live period in Indiana.
And at this point, though, haven't these guys been seen? I mean, even though it's early in this AAU season, man, there's already been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events. And not just that, this is not the first time they've been seen, period. Even guys like Trent Sisley and Jalen Harrelson, who we knew we were expecting because of their great play prior to this. So these guys have been seen. Is this more about making an appearance for coaches now, or are they still looking for talent?
I think it's a little bit of both. You have to continue to build that relationship. I mean, we could use Jalen Harrelson for an example. Indiana's still working on that relationship, building it and everything. And, they want to be known that they're at Jalen Harrelson's games and stuff. Same with Trent Sisley and stuff like that. Keeping in contact with them. It's almost like a parent and kid type of thing. Like, obviously your parents are going to be at all your games and everything. The coaches kind of have to have that mindset too. And of course, they're always still looking, each event you see something different in a player. You can always learn a little bit more about them, their game, how they adjust to certain situations and stuff. So, I mean, it's a learning process all year round with them.
Yeah. Pete says, I guess he up there in our new high school facilities where he lives with the new field house is capable of 14 courts for basketball. His taxes say it's super nice. Now he's originally from Frankfort, which has one of the coolest gyms in this state. The Frankfurt hot dogs. That was the home of Western University, baby. The Dolphins from Blue Chips. But he's up in Minneapolis now. But that makes sense. I mean, it's too cold up there, man. You got to have a lot of courts to play.
Yeah.
But basketball must be popular all over. Somebody build 14 courts. That's a lot. That's a commitment.
It's beautiful. I mean, I'm a gym junkie. I love going into different gyms and different arenas and everything and just seeing stuff.
I like to go into the great ones, like the Hatchet House, or I forget what Pete is telling me, but the Hot Dog House, the name of that place is, I don't know. But like Southport's gym is okay, but it's great how it's built because it's a loud place, man. It's it's one of those gyms that you just walk in and it's below the surface. One level, probably seats about 7,000. That's where they're going to have the high school all-star game on this side. That should be a loud place for that game, by the way, coming up. So that's June. I forget. Well, that's another thing coming up in about a month at Bedford High School. The juniors will be playing the seniors there. Then they're going to play they're going to play the Kentucky juniors at Bedford. They're going to play the Indiana seniors at Mount Vernon. Then they'll play the Friday, Saturday, Owensboro and Southport games with Kentucky.
Yeah. Another big event. Bedford's a pretty good place to host that. Damon Bailey Court and everything.
6,000 seat gym.
Yeah. There's been a lot of great games there, a lot of sellouts there, especially in the 90s when Damon played and all of that. It's in Southern Indiana wise, it's a very underrated facility in my opinion.
Does Damon make an appearance?
He could. So Damon was actually an assistant coach for the boys team and girls team about I don't know. Let's see. I graduated in 2015. So from 15 on, his daughter played on the girls team, and then his son eventually came up in high school. My brother played with him for about 3 years. So yeah, he's been there. But I think he's just enjoying kind of being a dad right now. Going up and watching his son play at St. Francis and everything. He kind of doesn't have to have that coaching shoes on and, that player shoes on and stuff like that. He can just kind of enjoy watching his son play.
And I'm sure he's doing just that, Dylan, because you only get one chance to do that. And he doesn't have to do, he can do whatever the hell he wants, which is exactly what he's doing. He went through some tragedy last year. His parents were involved in that horrible accident in which he lost his father, and his mother is pretty sick, I think, still. So he has had to deal with that. But yeah, his son's at school, so we can watch him. I don't know if he'll do anything after that to get back into it, but he may not miss it. A lot of times those guys are like, and they're done. I'm like, I'm done. Fans don't understand, but they don't understand what those guys have to go through. So we're kind of getting off track talking about a lot of different things, but that's cool. It all comes full circle. But coming back, is anybody making a charge with their game, becoming noticed because, hey, that wasn't highly thought of through these thus far this early season in this AAU circuit?
First name that came up to my head is Flory Badunga. That guy, he was very hidden. There were a lot of people that knew how good he was. He's hidden in Kokomo, Indiana.
But isn't he hidden on purpose? Aren't they purposely trying to keep him hidden because there is supposedly a coach that he is attached at the hip to already?
Yeah, that's the rumor. Don't know who that coach is. Don't know what school that is. But he did get a Bradley offer a couple weeks ago. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's not the school that's attached to him. But no, like this has been the first year where he's been able to be seen in the public eye pretty much. And people have just been blown away by him. I haven't heard really one bad thing as far as scouting wise with his game and everything. And like the crazy thing is to me is like he's still learning how to play. I think this is like his 3rd or 4th year playing basketball. And so there's different things that he's just learning like on the fly. Like you'll see him like on the court do something. He'll maybe try to have an over the back rebound or something. He'll get called for that. And then his players are like, or his teammates are like, hey, you can't do that. So he's just learning how this goes. Like he's raw, but he's like already just automatic around the rim.
Kyler, there's no such thing as over the back.
You sure?
There is no such thing as over the back. That is one thing that cracks me up when I'm at a game or something. I'll hear some people screaming, "Over the back! Over the back!" There's no such call as over the back. I think officials, it either used to be an actual rule or that is the phraseology they used to use, but it's not. They don't ever. You should never see them do this,
right?
Because it's not a foul. If touching them, hitting them, it's basically if you hit them. So just a little side note for the peeps out there, because I hear it all the time. It's kind of one of my pet peeves. I hear I'm like, it's not a rule. There's no such thing. But are you getting a chance to get out much, Dylan, to see? I know that the event up there in Fort Wayne, and I think there's another one. Yep, you got one coming up at the end of May, the May 27th, the Memorial Day running slam.
Yep. So those are the two big ones that we have in Fort Wayne. We have one, the Bill Hensley is in the beginning of May. The Memorial Day is at the end of May. And those are two huge tournaments. We get a ton of players that come through Fort Wayne. I don't get to much AAU outside of Fort Wayne because I have so much else going on, especially with Tin Caps during the summer and then keeping track of everything else. But I will say I can chime in on the anyone who is gaining momentum still somewhat under the radar. And a guy I saw during the Bill Hensley run and slam was this kid from Carmel, Garway Duel, who plays for Xavier Booker's team, if I recall correctly. He had the ball in his hands. Booker was the star of the team, obviously, but Duel had the ball in his hands on a regular basis. He's a 6'5" combo guard, and he was beating everyone off the dribble. He jammed on a couple guys. He's incredibly athletic. I saw he picked up a couple offers from TCU and Arizona State off of that performance, quite frankly, because it was pretty obvious that he was one of the best players on the court. And so that's a guy that I would, from Carmel, like I said, that I would look for going forward as well. But yeah, I love getting out and seeing these guys when they come to Fort Wayne. We have they play some of these tournaments at Turnstone, which is a gym here in Fort Wayne. And one of the courts at Turnstone has the Journal Gazette logo at the center of the court because we sponsor it. So you'd think I'd get some kind of VIP seating, but alas, I have to be in with the hoi polloi.
Well, dang on it. Something else, I know we've got to hit a break here soon, but I just want to, I've seen some chat about this in the Andy Moore Honda hotline. Is there truth to a TB team being formed, or is this just you guys in the chat talking about this?
It's happening.
Devontae
Green.
Last night they announced Devontae Green was announced. Yes.
I've been trying to get this done for 2 years. I mean, I have been screaming about this for 2 years or longer, maybe 5 years. Ever since I've been doing this show, I've been doing it. And so glad to see. So Devontae, who all's with him?
They've only announced Devontae Green so far, but I mean, don't be shocked to see some other guys that are playing professionally overseas, like James Blackman Jr. Maybe might get Yogi in it. I don't know. But Devontae Green was the first official player announced. So I think it's just in the coming weeks, you're going to see a lot more players announced for it.
I saw Derrick Elson a couple days ago tweeted about how a little birdie had told him that it was happening. So I wonder.
Yeah, that's another one. That would be another perfect fit for there. So,
well, too bad they can't get Maurice Creek, who is probably just going to be stuck with, or not stuck, but stay with sideline cancer. He's, speaking of him, is still with the Timberjacks in Medora down here, not far from Bedford. Chatted with him yesterday, and I know in a game his most recent game, he knocked down 32. When I saw him play, he was knocking down. He had 4 3-pointers in the first half. They have a couple more home games. But it's in a couple of weeks. I'll get you updated on that. But I think it's the 20th and the 21st, maybe. 2 more home games, and you guys should get down there or up there or wherever to Medora. It's kind of easy to get to, depending on where you are, as long as you're not too far in Fort Wayne or something. But the basketball was fun. But yeah, it's an opportunity to get out there. But but the TBT team, I'm glad to see that. I'm looking forward to that. I'll have to reach out to Devontae to see how that's going. But too bad they can't get Jordan Hulls. He would have fit right into that perfectly. But don't think that that's going to be allowable now that he's on staff. He won't have time. He's going to be busy. He's still playing right now. And I asked him, he was on with us yesterday or Wednesday, and but I asked him, this was off, I think, when we were talking or chatting, what's the absolute latest he could get here? And it could be the June 18th would be the latest if every series they're in goes 5 games and they win the championship. So anything short of that gets him home sooner. But Mike Woodson has his summer basketball day camps. He's having those this year, and that is going on like right before that. So all kinds of stuff going on. Get out if you want to go to the Adidas May Classic up this weekend up there in Noblesville. Kyler Staley will be there. Keegan Nicholson will be there as well, I believe.
Yep. He's coming along.
So the Hoosier.com staff, so you can go. They will follow along. You guys will have a live blog, I'm assuming.
Yep. We'll have that up Saturday for that.
So you can go to the Hoosier.com and get that covered. And are you going to be out? What are you doing this weekend, Dylan? I know you're not leaving, but.
Yeah, I will be at Trine in covering softball this weekend.
That's right. That's right. We talked about that. All right. Well, I know we got to take a break, so we let Kyler get back to enjoying this beautiful day. I hope you do it. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy watching some great basketball, man. And we'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for filling in for Alec today.
No problem. Hopefully, I did an okay job filling in for him. So.
Oh, he's fired, man. What are you talking about?
Okay. So,
Just
thanks
kidding.
for having me, guys.
You bet. Hey, we got lots more coming up. Brought to you by our good friends at BB's Marketplace. BB's Marketplace is your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer. No matter where you live, they have some of the best custom meats around and some of the largest varieties of in-house made products, up to 40 different types of sausages. They don't have that many in stock now. They pared it down because it was almost too much. But anything you could ever need, and it is delicious. You can order online. Visit bbsmarket.com. You can just coincide that with the WOW Club. Go to your Apple Store or Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and download the WOW Club app, because then you sign up. There are WOW rewards, dining discounts, and VIP invites. So all that stuff comes together. They're a big supporter of Indiana athletics and a supporter of ours. So please support them. Help us as they bring this content to you. We're back with Dylan, Sinn, and more on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda. The commercials are the hardest part of the show. It is no joke.
One thing that I've noticed, and maybe I just don't know any better, but you always call it BB's Marketplace. Isn't it just BB's Market? Maybe he's just ignoring me.
No,
It is BB's Marketplace.
Then why does the logo say BB's Market? And then when you always say the website, it's just bbsmarket.com.
No, I say bbsmarketplace.com.
Well, that's not what you said today. Let's see what happens if I type in bbsmarket.com.
It's visit bbsmarket.com.
Is it bbsmarket.com? Gotcha.
So is it BB's Market?
I'll tell you right now in just a second.
You're
Yeah, it's just BB's Market. It's the exact logo that I have up in the top right.
Where the hell did the place come from?
I think it's just the way that you say it rolls off your tongue.
No, it's written out.
They do look like they have some good stuff though on here.
I wonder if for that TBT team, I wonder if you can get Yogi Ferrell home from Slovenia for that.
Oh, he went overseas? I thought he was still in the NBA.
Yeah, he went overseas last year. He went to Slovenia and he won like some kind of European championship or something like that.
Nice.
He was in Greece in 2021 and then Slovenia in 2022, I believe.
By the way, I don't think we're going to hear from Zach today. Just a heads up.
Oh.
All righty.
Jim, I was just talking about whether IU can get Yogi Ferrell home from Slovenia.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't know he was. Not only did I not know that, and I need to. Did you know? And this is something good to talk about. That Will Sheehy is on staff with the Golden State Warriors.
I did not know that.
I was chatting with him yesterday, and hold on, I got to respond to JC.
Well, he played in TBT from like 2015 to 2017 for different team.
There's that one team that had him, Jordan Hulls, and Christian Watford on it.
Yeah.
DJ White is still playing.
Oh
man, how old
he's
is
over.
He now?
Can they get Jared Jeffries in there?
Man, he's past his deal, isn't he?
Of course he is, but
From Remax Advanced Realty, let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Friday here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference in you getting the home you want and not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette with me as we have been chit-chatting about everything. Don't forget also this weekend, the Crawfest going on down in Bedford, the Harp Commons. It's tonight and tomorrow. All you can eat, crawfish boil, beer garden, live music. The weather is fantastic. It is going to be absolutely perfect weather. Just what else what could you want? So, and Clayton Anderson's going to be on with us here in a little while. So, which he'll be headlining that tomorrow night. So, there you go. There's that. Will Sheehy, I was chatting with him yesterday, and I did not know that he is on staff with the Golden State Warriors. I had no idea. Last I knew, he was in New York, I think, just working like a regular job.
Wow.
So, and talk about swapping coast too. But yeah, I mean, very cool. So that's awesome. I didn't get to talk to him about it a lot. Obviously, he's busy because I'm going to have him on the show. He said as soon as the season's over. But, you know, they're in that deep playoff. And that's a series that I've had get conversations with yesterday, just out and about. That's been the weirdest series, man. The other night, you had Memphis up 55 points at once. Yeah, I was talking with Chris Denari about this yesterday. They were up by 55 at one point on Golden State. Golden State beat Memphis by 40 something in this same series.
Yeah.
How can you have a 90-point swing between these same two teams that are both professionals? That just seems way too big. I don't get that.
Yeah, I have no idea how that happened. The fact that they were up 55 at one point in that game is kind of mind-blowing, especially since the series looked, for all intents and purposes, like it was over after Game 4 when Ja didn't play, and it was kind of like, okay, they just don't have the juice anymore. And then they came out and took it to them in Game 5. Just from the opening tip, it was like, okay, we are not done yet. And they made it clear that they were there to win Game 5 and make it to at least Game 6 and had a shot. And so we'll see whether they're able to carry that over tonight, because it's going to be interesting, because the Warriors, this is a team that has won titles. That core has been together for almost a decade now, which is extremely long time for a core to be together like that. They've won championships. And how do you respond now, right? Because you got knocked on your heels. You got punched in the mouth. And now you are back in Memphis, I believe. So what do? Right?
And the fact that they were able to do that without Ja Morant, that's mind-boggling. And that can't be good news for the rest of the league. I mean, they looked pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that Ja Morant is the type of guy who is he is a great player, and he makes your team better in all kinds of ways. But he's also a ball dominant player, and so it's interesting to see how the team changes when he is not on the floor, because other guys have a chance to step up and control the ball a little bit. Dylan Brooks is a great example of that. Desmond Bane did a great job of that. Those are guys that can be talented ball handlers and scorers when they are not deferring to Ja. And I understand why you defer to Ja Morant, because he is an incredible talent and a guy who is going to go get you a bucket on a regular basis, who is also an efficient player, by the way. But it's just a different dynamic when he's not out there on the court, because they do have other talented players. So it's interesting to see how they've kind of morphed and changed. It seemed like it took them at least one game to kind of figure it out without him. But they were he missed games in the regular season, and they were very good when he was not on the court.
Apparently they were 20-5 without him, according to Philip, which is pretty pretty good. That's mind-boggling as well, because he seems to be their spark plug. But man, if you can roll that successfully without your guy, crazy. Game 7, Forrest says Game 7, if necessary, would be in Memphis. So that does not look good for Golden State. So that looks good for us getting Will Sheehy on the show sooner.
Yeah, they have this game. I apologize, I misspoke. It was that Game 6 is in Golden State, Game 7 is in Memphis. It's been such a weird season. I had forgotten, quite frankly, that Memphis is the home team in that series. They are the higher seed. They are the 2 seed. I still think of them as kind of the plucky upstart, which in a way they are. But yeah, so if you're Golden State, you better go home and get this game now, because you do not want to play Game 7 in Memphis.
Let's see. Let me make sure. There was a question on, I was answering online last night. Someone had, they were having a conversation, and it brought up Fred Glass and about how Indiana was so superior in facilities. And I just had to chuckle. I'm like going, man, you must not get out, because as far as football facilities go, I would put Indiana overall facilities. I would put Indiana in a tie for the worst in the Big Ten with Northwestern. I would put them dead last with Northwestern. And the only reason that there's a tie is because Northwestern Stadium sucks. Memorial Stadium is okay. It's nice looking from the sky. But when you're close up, you can see all the cracks in you can see its age you can see all the wrinkles when you're close up. But from the sky, it looks great because it's enclosed, although it's kind of a misleader. There's not really seats on the one end and few seats on the other. It's one of the smallest schools or stadiums there at 52,000. Rutgers is 47, I think. Northwestern's 47, I think. But they've got the brand new workout facility located on the lake. This beautiful glass structure and all of the practice facilities. They have their own facility. They don't share it with anybody else. That's another knock on Indiana. Everybody uses the one workout facility, not just Indiana's football team. And then if you want to look at the practice facilities, they probably have the what's the words, least aesthetically pleasing indoor facility, I guess I would say. It's just a nice old structure.
You're not a fan of the Mellencamp field?
No, I'm just saying it gets the job done. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying in comparison to other facilities in the Big Ten, it's not. These others are all newer or shinier, nicer, more amenities. And I don't think there's another team in the Big Ten, minus maybe Northwestern, that shares the workout room with 23 other teams as Indiana does. So Indiana does not even have their own workout facility. It's shared with all 23 other teams at Indiana, which I don't know how you manage that, but they do. So to me, that's just my opinion, but for football facilities, I got Indiana as a dead last tie. They're the press box, there between, I think it's Rutgers, Northwestern. Northwestern's press box, I think, is similar to Indiana's, very small. I think it's the original press box from the 60s. If you notice today that there's few stadiums that do not have the suites and press box that basically run the length of the stadium. Indiana has they have very, very few suites. They have some suites up in that press box that they have there, but it's just old. Purdue Stadium is ugly. Yeah, it's ugly, but their press box is modern and new, and it spans the length of the field with suites, and it gives you a great view of the mortuary school. I'm sorry, they don't have a mortuary school. That's just campus. But it holds a few more people, and the seats are closer to the field. So, but
Purdue also just spent $65 million on that facility like 5 years ago, something like
practice,
that.
And their practice
facility.
They have a brand new practice facility, which is state of the art, modern, and everything else. So, Indiana is just they have a small stadium that they can't fill, and their practice facilities are just so.
Yeah, I have not seen enough of the Big Ten stadiums myself to make a judgment. I have seen obviously Purdue and IU. Purdue was obviously ahead of IU in terms of football. IU has done some stuff over the last several years in order to improve. The Memorial Stadium stuff is fairly significant. I remember when I was on campus as a student from 2012 to 2016. It was not the entrance is far better than it was back then. The entrance it looks like an adult entrance now, like a big boy entrance in a way that it never did before. And so that helps just the aesthetics of when you drive past the stadium from the street, it looks like a professional, nice stadium. And that helps, I think. But outside of that, they probably do need a new indoor practice facility if you're going to be a significant player in the Big Ten, just because, or even a contender in a realigned Big Ten that is not does not include Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State in the same division every year. So, yeah, it's something that would probably be the next step in the football, would be getting a new indoor practice facility, and we've been saying that for probably 4 years now.
The thing is, I don't know that they could build a new one. They would probably have to refurbish the Mellencamp Pavilion because of location and space. Although you're going to need another facility, there needs to be a weight training facility for these other teams. I don't know how in the world you can have every team using that one facility. I mean, hell, that didn't work out in my high school hardly. So I can't imagine how it works out at a university, but that's what they're doing right now. So it is what it is. And I don't know why I'm on that, but just saw that yesterday. Jennifer says the biggest and best improvement to Memorial Stadium is selling beer. It helps you get through the painful games. And I wonder when they're going to start selling beer at Assembly Hall. Why are they waiting? What is the holdup? They're selling it at Andy Moore Field, at Bart Kaufman Field, the softball and baseball stadiums, and football. Why not basketball? Why? They sell it or give it to the high rollers down behind the south end, I think, down there underneath. Y'all don't know that's down there. There's a secret bar back behind where the bleachers that come out. There's a secret bar back there. I don't get to visit it, but I just know about it. But yeah,
it's one of those things where only a select few get invited, but it's like the secret menu at McDonald's. You have to have a password.
Yeah, secret handshake, and all that.
Yeah.
Hey, we got speaking of special handshake, we got a special one coming up. DJ Derrick Jackson is going to join us. We'll take a quick break, and he'll be back right after this. Brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're the home in the Indianapolis area, reach out to Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Back with Derrick Jackson after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
What's up, DJ?
What's up? How you doing, Jim? What's going on, brother?
I was just actually talking about football facilities.
Okay. We you know, I don't think we may not compare to some of the top ranked facilities in the nation, but I tell you what, man, it's gotten a lot better over the years. That I can tell you.
It has gotten better, but they're still at the bottom of the Big Ten.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Well, you know what? You know how to get to the top of the Big Ten. You got to win ball games, man, and you got to win them convincingly. That's the only way to get to the top. Just about anything that you do, you got to win. You got to come out on top, man. It's just the way it is.
Hey, before, real quick, Jim, have you? I sent Clayton the link and stuff earlier and sent him a message. I have not heard back. Have you talked to him at all this morning or texted him?
I have not, but I will.
Just let him know that I've sent him stuff, and we'll see.
What number did you send it to?
The last 4 digits are. Give me 1 second.
Hey, Dylan, how you doing, man? Have I met you before?
I don't think so. Nice to meet you, Derrick. I work for the Journal-Gazette up in Fort Wayne.
Okay, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yep,
Yes,
I'm very familiar with Fort Wayne. Really, it gets really cold up there in Fort Wayne.
It does, yeah.
Last 4 digits are 4841, Jim.
Okay.
But I guess the weather has broke now. I mean, I guess you guys are starting to enjoy some sun a little bit up there now.
We are. It's been actually 85 here the last couple of days, so it's been pretty nice, and yeah, it's been beautiful up here. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on. It's great to meet you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I try to come on at least, like I said, once a week, kind of talk a little bit of football, and during the season, I come on a lot more. During the season. And I tell you what, man, I think we got roughly somewhere around 112, 111 days left, something like that, before football starts, man. I'm really excited. I can tell you this. This has to be a year that Coach Allen turns the program around. I don't think that, they're going to want to continue on the same trend. But we got a long way to go.
I gotcha. Yeah, I am an alum. I went to IU, class of 2016. So I saw some pretty lean years in football, but I was there for at least the Pinstripe Bowl in against Duke that 1 year. So that was the best season they had while I was there.
2016. Wow.
CRVs, HRVs, and pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Friday, and Derrick Jackson's in. Wasn't with us yesterday, so he thought he'd bring the magic today on a Friday. I don't think you've ever been with us on a Friday, have you?
No, I haven't been with you on a Friday, man. So I think maybe I might explore different days of the week. But
see, explored. He bounced right out. Not used to having it. He was so unused to being on Fridays, he just jumped right out of here. But he's going to talk on what were we talking about in the break?
Talking about football facilities and kind of how important this upcoming football season is for IU in terms of the direction of the program.
Yesterday also, Dylan, I had Rhett Lewis on.
New IU broadcaster.
Man, we don't mess around here. We had Jordan Hulls on Wednesday, Rhett Lewis on Thursday, baby. We're on it. Bam, bam. We're out making it happen. But great guy. Looking forward to it. Rhett Kleinschmidt is what you would have normally known him as. Derrick Jackson joins us back again. Derrick, I was just talking that I had Rhett Lewis on with us yesterday. The newest color analyst for the Indiana broadcast team, but he has got an extensive broadcasting experience after playing at IU in the early 2000s. He was on the teams with Antoine Randall. And he has spent his time with the NFL Network, several shows on Sirius. But the broadcast team just took nothing against Bach, who was great, but man, they just raised the bar a little bit or a lot.
Yeah, they did. They did. And that's great to see when things like that happen. Very excited for Rhett. Very good extensive experience, just like you said. But again, it all. We can have all of the great broadcast analysts in the world, and that's great. But we got to win. I mean, when you want to get to the meat and potatoes of it, we've got to win games this year. And I keep saying that. I mean, I'm in football mode here just a little bit. We've got to do something this year to win ball games, and we got to win convincingly. There's just say we're at the bottom when it came to facilities. Well, I mean, unfortunately, we're going to be there until we win games, and until we get some of those personnel in. And like you were talking about, Jen, like we talk about every week, NIL, I think it's going to kind of work against us. I think it's really going to work against our program. I really do.
I've said that a lot. Indiana is going to, in basketball, it's going to be immensely helpful. And as helpful as it's going to be in basketball, I think it's going to be as detrimental because Indiana is not going to keep up in football. I saw a comment a minute ago from Forrest about why invest millions in Indiana football when there's no return on investment? Well, you have to make the investment to get the return. It's the chicken and the egg, but there's never been an investment in football. They have never truly invested in football. Just look at the facilities we just talked about. All that they've done with all those facilities, and that just got them up, and they're still at the bottom of the Big Ten. So to me, that's not making an investment in football. That's doing what you got to do to come and stay along. So the only way for Indiana that they're going to be able to compete for me is they are going to have to invest. They're going to have to. Hoosiers for Good is going to have to land them a quarterback. Seriously, I mean, how else you want to say it? It's the truth. That's what these NILs are. And if anybody sees it differently, that's fine. You can have your opinion, but I think you're off your rocker. But they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to not just land the Malik Reynolds. They're going to have to land a quarterback. And even then, they're not going to land a quarterback that Ohio State's going to get or that Alabama's going to get. So that's fine. But they're going to have to do it to compete. That you cannot sit back and not participate in the NIL. And although it's with football, you got so many more players and positions. I know it makes it more difficult. And I'm not saying that you have to cover all of those, but you have to have stars though, Derrick. I mean, you have to have a star. You have to have a solid quarterback to start with or nothing works.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I was thinking about Tawan Mullen the other day, and I think he would probably be the biggest name on IU's roster right now. And I'm wondering, I'm waiting on this guy to get some type of NIL deal.
He already does. He already does. He's part of it. He's on the Hoosiers for Good team.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about even a little bit big, like you said, a little bit bigger than that. I'm thinking of, isn't there a big medical facility right there in Bloomington?
Well, the Hoosiers for Good is an NIL collective made up of many, many businesses. Cook Medical.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. The CEO, Peter Yonkman, is the board of directors for Hoosiers for Good. The vice president is Calbert Cheney of the Indiana Pacers. You've got a secretary and treasurer from other companies. So it is the Indiana's by far. Anything else is a nuisance NIL thing. It does not compare. It's a drop of water in the ocean. I don't care who you're talking about. There are people out there that make a lot of noise about NIL and get attention for it, but this is not Hoosiers for Good. Hoosiers for Good we're talking the big money. The Hoosiers for Good is why Malik Reynolds came to Indiana, not because of any other NIL. I can promise you that it's not apples and oranges here. But they're going to have to do that with football and not in a nominal fashion, not just doing it as a token. There has to be an investment. I think they have to bring in a quality player, Dylan. or well, what else are you saying? If you don't, you're not. If you don't, you're not trying to me.
Yeah, I mean, it of course it depends on how much they're going to invest in the football program, right? Because that's how this is going to go. It's going to be an investment from boosters, from these collectives, and so we're going to see how much they're willing to go into football, because basketball is obviously going to be a huge part of this. But Indiana can be an NIL stronghold in football as well. It's just going to take the commitment and the effort to get it there.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, like you said. I mean, I'm thinking back in the day. We had big name players like obviously Anthony Thompson, Van Waiters, Ernie Jones. We had big name players that probably would have Antoine Randall, and then after my time, players that would probably qualify for some of these bigger NIL deals. And I'm wondering, are we even going after these targets? Are we even going after a player like Arch Manning? Are we going after a player like that? Are we even trying to go after a player like that? No, are we just saying, you know what, we're not going to get this guy, so let's not even waste our recruiting budget on trying to recruit a guy that we know not's coming in there. I don't know what's happening when it comes to that.
Yeah, because when we talk about basketball recruiting every day here, right. There's not a lot of talk about football. There's not a lot of names. But that's because you don't see Indiana making the lists that they make in basketball, obviously. And Indiana's become, I think they're going to be a big portal team. The portal is going to be Indiana's best friend from a recruiting standpoint. It already has been, and I think it is going to continue to be that. I think that they're going to have better luck landing guys out of the portal than landing and developing, getting the talent that's there and already and developing it up. That's just my thought on it, my take.
I say it every week, and I'm going to say it again. I think that we need to start investing and bringing some of those athletes that we had back. So those players that are, being recruited by Indiana can make the connection. I mean, Coach Tom Allen is a great coach. I mean, Tom Landry was a great coach. But when you think about the Dallas Cowboys, who do you identify with? Deion Sanders, right? So when these kids see Deion Sanders, what do? These big name players, they're very interested in going to Jackson State. So when you see a guy like an Anthony Thompson or a Van Waiters or an Ernie Jones or Mike Dumas, connected with Indiana, it's spark. Players like, oh yeah, I watched that guy. Yeah, he was All-American. You know what I'm saying? You get these type of guys that want to be attracted to the program. I mean, it's hard to go get a 5-star recruit, and I mean, you're just a coach. And I'm not saying that Coach Allen is just a coach who's been, who's just been around a block or two, but you need some help, some additional help to get these recruits into your program.
Ross says if Indiana football needs 3 things to happen to have a chance: a stadium update, NIL funds, and the Big Ten dissolving the division format, which we've talked about that. I don't. The divisions are stupid. The way the Big Ten does it, it's stupid. It makes no sense. Why do you even have divisions when the games you play outside of your division still matter? What's the point? Because that creates a completely unbalanced schedule automatically. So it's dumb.
It makes no sense. I agree, Jim. It makes no sense, man.
The ACC is looking to go to what they call a 5-3 format, where you play 3 teams. It's the same teams every year. Like Indiana, let's say Indiana would play Purdue, Michigan, and Michigan State, just for whatever. The other 5 games, well, that's 8 in the Big Ten plays 9, but the ACC has 8. But the other 5 of the ACC will rotate. Man, that would kind of suck, because you could end up getting 5 hard ass games, and someone could, and that's where Ohio State would draw Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers. That would be the games that they would draw probably. But anyway, something has to be done. And not only that, I think they have to do it in a way that the schedule is more flexible. more frequently, because teams, when they make these runs and they, for a couple of years, change the schedule. The NFL is able to do that. It's totally doable with your conference games. And I think that I think they should do that, and they've got to change the division format. The Big Ten East is just ridiculously weighted. You've never had a winner come out of the West for the Big Ten championship. And just change it. Just change it. But to what? But to what?
That's the question. I mean, when you make changes, you gotta have the end result in mind. I mean, especially when you're talking about making changes, you gotta have the end result in mind. So, and I think that's what's going to help the program is making those changes, but having the end result in mind and how are we going to get there. And NIL funds, it's. I mean, we don't have it, and it's going to be hard to get.
Dylan, I think the Big Ten needs to go back to 8 conference games because the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12, I believe, plays 8 conference games. That gives you such an advantage on getting to a bowl game because that allows you 4 non-conference games. So basically you can schedule 4 wins and only have to win 2 conference games every year to get to a bowl game.
Yeah, and basically what the SEC does is they schedule 8 conference games. They have 3 non-conference and then 1 FCS game. So their extra game, their 9th game, is just an FCS team that they're going to roll through. And it helps not only for bowl games, it helps for the teams at the very top of the league. It helps their playoff chances, right? Because you have a game where it's essentially a second bye during the schedule. And so that's a huge part of this as well. I think it makes sense to go back to 8. I do know the NCAA this week is talking about getting rid of the requirement. I think the reporting that I saw is that they're going to do this, getting rid of the requirement that conferences have a conference championship game, which would, I think, open up the possibility of getting rid of divisions and maybe going to some kind of different system. We'll see whether the Big Ten does that. I think the championship game would continue, but then the question is, divisions?
But then how do you determine that? But absolutely, they're not. The Big Ten championship is going nowhere.
No, it makes so much money for the conference. They would never get rid of it.
Oh, hell yes. And it's not about the attendance either. It's which they make plenty on there because it always sells out. But that's a TV juggernaut, man. That's a Saturday night prime time event game there.
Exactly. Yep, that's not going anywhere. It is a big time moneymaker, man. So I agree with you. It's not going anywhere, man.
Unfortunately, it's in Indianapolis, which so that benefits the state, the city as well, which again, the Big Ten football media days will be at Lucas Oil Stadium. So very happy about that. Derrick, you should come up, my friend.
Man, I'm getting back out there, man, because I am missing Indiana. I'm so excited about football coming back, man. I tell you, Jim, you will see more of me this year than you did last year. Trust me.
But Dylan, when is football media days? Is it at the end of July?
It's usually in July, a little bit toward the middle of the end of the month. So that's we're actually not that far away. I think Derrick was saying it's about 100, 110, 111 days to the start of the season. We're barely 60 days to media days.
That's why I started thinking. I was like, that's why I started thinking. I'm like, oh man, isn't this in July? I'm like, good Lord. I was like, next month's June. I'm like, we're 2 months. We're a little over 2 months from media day. That is mind-boggling.
Yep.
We're just getting to the AAU basketball stage.
It's going quick, man. It's going quick, and it's got people really super excited. And there's a lot of expectations around Indiana football. Period. Basketball, we know is going to get that attention, but I really do truly believe that this year is going to be a different year. On a lighter note, I did see where we had 2 players. I think Watt Fillier, I think he signed with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and then I think also we had a defensive lineman, excuse me. He signed with the Canadian League football team too. So that was pretty good to see those players get an opportunity at the next level.
Hey, I think it's so cool for anybody to play for a Canadian team. It takes me back to a kid because it's when I was in high school and we first got cable, just got to our area because we lived out in the county, out in the country. And CFL football was one of the things that was on all the time. You had Australian rules football and Canadian League football. And that Canadian League football was wild because it was so different with the guys running in motion towards the line, and the end zones, are they 15 yards deep?
I think so, like 15. Yep. Unless it changed. I haven't seen the Canadian League football game in a while, but it used to be 15, right?
And the goalposts are on the goal line, I believe.
That's wild to me right there. That is
oh yeah. Still in the middle of the field with all that. It's crazy. The action, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and all those great names. The Arguettes.
Argonauts, something like that.
There you go.
The Rough Riders.
The Rough Riders, yep. Got you one Rough Riders.
Calgary Stampeders, I think. I'm trying to get them all out there, man. But, well, brother, I thank you how much. Appreciate you, and look forward to talking to you again next week. Hope you have a great weekend.
You too, man. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for having me, and I will be back normally next week on Thursday, man, at 9:30. See you guys in.
Have a good one, brother.
Thanks, Derrick. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Derrick Jackson joining us here on Indiana Sports Speed Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, located right next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington. They have got a great wine selection with a sommelier on staff. They take their pairing seriously, and many other high-end quality products. Back with more Indiana Sports Speed Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting...
I think DJ froze, so I'll just go ahead and remove him. I guess no Clayton.
I guess not. The other guy, I've reached out to him, said he reached out to him and has not had a response yet.
Well, I guess just make sure you address it over the air in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, well, I'll just say he's not here. He didn't show up.
Oh, I know. But I just don't want you to not say anything because you may have certain people who are waiting for that. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm sure Dylan can sing us a ditty.
Look, I have a wonderful singing voice. The problem is I don't showcase it in public. So,
you're not in public. Didn't you watch American Idol? You're just like the two guys that had COVID in their hotel room.
Is American Idol still on TV?
Yes, I watch it, man.
Yeah, okay.
There's a guy from Kentucky in it right now.
Oh, wow.
I say that as a person from Kentucky. That's why I say that.
He's in like the final three or something.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
Dylan, you can sing, Dylan. I'll play for you.
What's your best song on the guitar, Jim?
Old MacDonald had a farm.
There you go.
Do it over the air. Say, I'm sorry we couldn't have Clayton Anderson today. Instead, you get Jimmy Clayton. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Jim and Sinn.
There you go. It's like Simon and Garfunkel.
Jim and Sinn.
Of course, Jim would leave to go solo like Paul Simon did.
I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket with two hands.
Yeah. I have zero musical talent whatsoever. They had us try to play the recorder in fourth grade.
Forrest said, please don't play on the air.
Thank you, Forrest. I tried to play the recorder in fourth grade because they gave it to us for music class. I was so bad. I could not get my fingers to move on the instrument.
Did you say
hot cross buns? Hot cross buns. Dun, 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 dun,
what are you calling it?
It's a recorder. It looks like a flute, but it's like a really basic version of the flute.
Yeah, it's called a recorder.
Yeah. It's like the basic starter instrument they start all the kids on in like fifth grade.
Oh yeah, I forgot this too. How in the hell did I forget this? Friday the 13th, man.
All right, here we go.
Football and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Friday, getting you ready for the weekend, brought to you by our good friends at Courtroom Sports Grill, who are bringing you the 4th annual Crawfest down in Bedford at the Harp Commons in downtown tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, headlined by Clayton Anderson, who we were expecting to have with us, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. He's got to get that singing voice ready for tomorrow night, so we'll have him make it up to us another time. But yeah, tonight and tomorrow night, all you can eat. They got a beer garden, live music both nights. Let's see, Dames Rocket. I can't see who tonight is, but Clayton's tomorrow night. But you can go to the Courtroom's Facebook page to get all the other information that you need. But I will be down there, and plenty of others will be as well. So head down there. Dylan can't make it because he's too far north.
Unfortunately, yes.
But yeah, and you've got other things that you have to do anyway, right?
I do. Yeah. There's that's the thing is we have a lot going on here in Fort Wayne in the spring and summer. So it's beautiful. You guys should come up north if you ever have a chance. Fort Wayne is a beautiful little town. Not little really, but it is a wonderful place to be in the summer. We've upgraded the downtown. There's a lot of great places to eat and have entertainment. So anytime you're up north, I'll be happy to host.
Yeah, I'll do that the next time I have 6 hours of my life that I'll never be able to get back, which is how long it takes to drive there and back. Not that it's not worth being in Fort Wayne. It's just the getting there and the coming home part, which I have to say, I'm very impressed by the IU fans that come to like the football games from Fort Wayne, or basketball games. There can't be many people coming from Fort Wayne for basketball games, except for maybe on a weekend, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I come for, I mean, it's my job, so I have to, but I come for almost every single IU home game from Fort Wayne. It is 6 hours, as you said, 6 hours round trip, and it is a haul, but I enjoy doing it. So,
and you know, if you ever need a place to stay, I can host. I mean, like, I thought about that. I don't know if they could put you up in a hotel or not, but yeah, Dylan always sits by me most of the time. We sit next to each other in our press seats, and yeah, that's like, wow. I'm thinking I've got to drive back out to the golf club at Eagle Point, and you got to drive to freaking Fort Wayne. I'm in bed by the time you're getting on the interstate.
That's exactly. Yeah. It's what, 40 minutes until we get on 65 outside of Bloomington. So yeah, I mean, basically the way it works is the Journal Gazette will give me a hotel room if I ask for it. Generally I don't, just because I don't mind driving at night. I like sleeping in my own bed, et cetera, et cetera. I get home usually after if a game starts at 7:00 at Assembly Hall, I'm usually home by 2:30, 3, somewhere in there. So it's late, but I get to sleep in the next day because I don't have anything in the morning usually. So.
There you go. Dexter Dennis making his announcement today at 4:00 that he's not going to Indiana and he's going to whatever school he's going to end up at.
Sounds like Clemson is the front runner, I believe, is what I've heard from most people. Wichita State's going to be disappointed. They thought he might be coming back there, but I think it's going to be Clemson.
And everybody keeps asking, what do you think Trace is going to do? It cracks me up. I have never changed my take. I tweeted it out probably 3 or 4 weeks ago that I fully expect both Race Thompson and Trace Jackson Davis to return. That was before Race Thompson signed his NIL deal and was coming back. I wish I could find that tweet and retweet it and in a week or so, but I think that will come to fruition. But and Dexter Dennis, I think that he waited, and I think that Well, you never know because, like I said, Trace Jackson Davis. What if he has a spectacular a combine showing? But I think that the indications from the inside is that he's more than likely going to be coming back because he's going to have an outstanding combine in order to not come back. Yeah. In my opinion, the only way he doesn't come back is if he does have an unbelievable combine performance, which
if he's out there hitting 20-footers like they're nobody's business, and he shows that he has the ability to do that in a game situation, it wouldn't surprise me if his stock rose pretty fast, because so much of him not being like right now, if the draft happened today, I don't think he would get picked, or if he did, it would be late in the second round. But so much of that is tied into his inability to shoot, or his unwillingness to shoot in game situations at IU. If he goes to the combine and they show it, and he has some of those scrimmages and it looks like he's shooting from 20 feet, I think his stock would rise extremely quickly. So maybe if we do see that, Indiana fans maybe start getting a little nervous, but otherwise I think you're probably right.
Yeah. And also we've seen he doesn't really perform great in the post against certain types of guys. Kofi Coburn ate his lunch. And man, you're going to have that in the NBA. I got news for you.
There's so much less back to the basket action in the NBA than there is in college. And the other thing with Trace is he has some kind of face-up game. He has more than he did when he came to IU. That's one of the things where he's improved. But he's not a face-up player by nature, right? And so in the NBA, he's going to have to be that, because you're just not having a lot of possessions in the NBA where you're going to get the ball to a guy in the post and let him go to work, especially a guy like Trace who's 6'9", right? DeAndre Ayton isn't getting that many of those kind of touches, let alone someone like Trace. So it's going to have to be shooting, and it's going to have to be face up that he shows at the combine.
Let's see, all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, one other thing. I can't believe that's not it. Forgot to mention. It's Friday the 13th, and we're just now getting around to mentioning that. I forgot about. I saw it earlier, and I forgot. And Ross is the only one that's brought it up. So wow, yeah, crazy. First Friday the 13th in a while too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's only usually was it one or two per year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first one in a while.
We had one in January, I believe.
We had one in January. Okay. But I would like to point out, I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this on the show, but one of the funniest moments of the IU basketball offseason, I laughed at this when I saw it the other day, was that there was the report that IU was going to play Arizona in December, which has not been finalized yet, but seems like it will be happening. And Trace quote tweeted that announcement and said, wow, exciting, etc. And Rob Finney, who again, as we know, has transferred to Cincinnati, quote tweeted Trace and said, Trace, the people want to know. And I don't know why that made me laugh so much.
Oh, because he can do that stuff now. It is funny because now he can say, it's almost like I purposely. He's like, hey, I can screw with you now, dude. Boom, there you go.
Exactly, and I thought that was just kind of indicative. These guys, like the IU team last year, we heard so much about it during the offseason about how they enjoyed being with each other, and there was a little bit of a different energy around the program and all that. And based on everything we've seen in public over the last couple months since the season ended, it seems like that was 100% true. Like these guys just genuinely enjoyed being around each other. And I do wonder if that was a factor in them coming together at the end of the season the way they did.
I think most of them enjoyed being around each other. It was not all kumbaya. And
sure.
For 13, there are still what I would call groups.
Sure.
Factions, whatever. Obviously, Parker Stewart and Michael Durr I think Xavier was kind of like a floater, but he was in all of the factions, including the not so good faction. But then you've got Anthony Leon and Trey Galloway and Logan Duncombe. Those guys, I think that they're kind of a group. And then you got the guys that play. I think it matters. So, but I think they all like each other. I don't think that there's any discord, but I think that there was groups, and you're going to have that. That's natural. I mean, you're not going to have 13 people all be all perfect buddy. It just doesn't work that way. You gravitate towards certain people, and that's going to be important as this team goes forward. But I think that success breeds contentment, man. It also brings happiness, and so winning will help bring that along next year as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Winning does cure a lot of those issues, but it helps. If you're going to win, it helps to have a team that everyone at least tolerates each other, and a large chunk of the team actually enjoys being around each other. And I think that's what IU had last year.
Chris, thank you for reminding me every day. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you. I hope you make it out, or can make it out to the golf event, so I can get a visor to you. Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Please hit the like button. It really helps us. I know how many guys are listening and watching, so hit the like button if you're on YouTube, and subscribe. It helps us a ton. Thanks to our good friends down in Evansville. I hope you guys have a great day. Congratulations for being the center of attention down there, for capturing the criminals from Alabama. You guys did a hell of a job. But hope everybody else has a great weekend. Dylan, you got weekend plans?
Yep, I will be at Trine Softball this weekend, covering that in the regional. I will be, and then I'll just be all over the place. I have a couple stories coming out. One on Monday that IU fans will be interested in. Fort Wayne native Carter Matheson, who has set the IU freshman home run record in baseball. So look for that on Monday.
Absolutely. And we will be back on Monday with a complete wrap up of whatever goes on over the weekend, and just to get your week started as well. Big thanks going out to Kyler Staley for joining us. Of course, Derrick Jackson and Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. Make sure you give him a follow at Dylan Sinn, and please give me one as well on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Hit that like button. Guys, go out, and thanks to John, the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. Go out and have yourselves a great weekend. Until Monday, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.